Good evening, skin enjoyers. Have dinner right, 'cause it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Basically, in this video, I'm going to look at all the skins of the current Rust Store, make comparisons to previous Rust Store skins to get a good idea in regards to, well, how much each of these skins are likely going to sell by next Thursday, and then knowing that, we'll then question, are these skins still holding up to being perfectly fine investments, or are there any potential problems that you need to be aware of? So sit back and relax. I'm going to start yapping. So, the first 24 hours of sales, unfortunately, SCMM wasn't working during then, but it is now, so don't worry. But I could just go to the workshop pages and look at the numbers we see there. So I was keeping track, and we're wary about this. I was giving you warnings in the rust rotation video and the predictions video. Keep an eye on the Sinotype Ammo large box sales. It has sold more in comparison to the firearms box. That's not too surprising. It was expected, and it isn't that much more. And don't worry, we'll talk about that specifically in a bit. Now, the LR300, the Seeker LR300, that is actually selling quite a lot. Initially, I was like, well, maybe a lack of sales could help it out. No, it's selling a lot. It's selling a lot. Sorry to say. But yeah, okay. I have actually received like a lot of people giving like positive words about it and whatnot. Perhaps it will just work out perfectly fine. Again, being part of a very in-demand weapon collection at the moment, it's going to give it a boost. I still worry about it when times are potentially a lot worse around October time. We'll talk about that in a bit, don't you worry. Gold Icepick, it has not sold as much compared to the previous week's one. Not too surprising considering the previous week one was the first one to be accepted in 8 years. But it is still selling quite a lot. So people clearly are very happy about that $3 skin there. The fridge. The Veggies Fridge has sold a little bit less compared to the previous week's fridge, which I guess would help it out. But still, my whole speech and talk about how the neon lockers behaved last year still carries on over to here. So we'll talk about that in a bit, don't you worry. Now, the clothing, selling not too ridiculously, just under 5,000 subscribers, locker following suit, and then we had the rock and the boots with just about 3,500 subscribers each. So overall, it's not too ridiculous. It's not like these skins are doing crazy sales. It's fine. It's fine. So, okay, fair enough. We'll leave it at that then. So, shall we go ahead and take a look at the first 48 hours of sales? Now, just confirm, I am streaming this a little bit later. But yeah, SCMM has been working today, and this is what it looked like as the first 48 hours of sales. So, the Ammo large box had 21,500 subscribers. Seeker LR300 had 17,300 subscribers. So, get a good look at that. And now let's take you over to what we see now. So it's about a couple hours later, and I can sit here and say Sinotype Ammo has sold how many more sales? Let's just, get a look at that. Yeah, it's done about an extra 800 subscribers. So what's that doing then? Good few hundred sales every hour, or at least a good few hundred new individual people are buying the skin, right? Because remember, subscriber count means the bare minimum amount of people that are buying it. 22,300 individual people have bought this skin so far. We just don't know how many they bought each. But we do know for a fact that number is definitely 100% correct. So at bare minimum, we know there's at least 22,300 of these in circulation at the moment. All right, so that's how it all works. Okay, move on. Right then, so overall, things are looking pretty all right. Looks like these skins are selling pretty high. But, of course, let's now specifically talk about each of these and question how much they're going to reach by next Thursday. So, Sinotype Ammo large box. As expected, you're selling quite a lot. Now, if we can just quickly scroll back to the previous week, we, of course, are really focused in regards to how much it's going to sell compared to the Sinotype firearms. And I basically said it on, when we saw the rust rotation, when I first saw the ammo box, I will not be surprised in the slightest if it sells more than this, but I don't think it'll be that much different. Instantly, I assumed, it'll probably maybe do like 40 or 50,000 subscribers. Keep an eye out. Well, if I was to just quickly go over to here, if I was to do like the comparisons and whatnot, as of recent, there's nothing that really compares because, of course, this has done almost 16,000 subscribers in the first 24 hours of sales. It's in demand. People are buying a lot of it. But again, I am standing by my point. I'm fully expecting the ammo box is going to do between 35 to 40,000 subscribers. I think it's going up to 40,000, which is totally fine. But here's something I want to bring up to you. I'm going to make a video dedicated to talking about approaching a brand new storage collection, because I've been around for a while now. I've seen multiple storage collections get built up and work out very nicely. But the big benefit to the most recent one, which was the graffiti storage, and I guess you could also say the scientific, we haven't had a new storage collection in about 3 years. So for a good 3 years, they've been stewing, cooking, and just rising in value slowly, because nothing new really came out to kind of make people turn heads and look at that instead. Is this going to be A-OK, or is there going to be another immediate brand new storage collection after Sinotype? And also, how much is Sinotype even going to get? So there will be a video dedicated to talking all about those details and whatnot, don't you worry. But yeah, I think that's going up to 40,000, in which I'm going to say 35 to 40,000 subscribers. And I don't know what's getting made next. You've got to keep an eye on a workshop. Oh, yes, you do. There's been lots and lots and lots of comments, loads of people showing their support and whatnot. We just don't know what he's going to be making next. But come on now, he's going to make another one, surely. Surely. What will it be? We shall see. Right. But if every other consecutive large box ends up doing about 40,000 subscribers, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if this ends up going up more and more and more in price. And do not be surprised if this is the one that sells the least. Now let me just quickly turn on the extensions. Oh wait, there you go. It was on. I just turned it off there. Right, and I can point out to you that we haven't seen that many more listings appearing. And as you can see, it's still basically $9. It hasn't really budged. But if we do see another collection continuation, oh yeah, that's going to go up again. Oh yes, it will. I don't know where it's going to kind of calm down at. But as we progress, are we going to go all the way up to about 18 skins? Or 15? Or 10? Don't know. Again, I have a video dedicated to talking about that. But that very likely might end up becoming the most expensive large box out of the whole set. So we'll see how it goes, but that's in a very, very good spot. The ammo box, though, can't really say the same thing. And we're not going to be able to tell how well that's going to do until we see the third skin and the fourth skin. And yeah, you get it there. So, regardless, whilst that's doing very nice, I'll sit here and tell you this. If we end up keep seeing more and more and more of these Sinotype large boxes being produced, collectively as a whole, people will be buying, or at least trying to buy all of them. People are aware, as a whole, it's a good investment. So, alright, you're good. I'm not going to question you. You're abnormal as well. We're going to chase after that Wednesday night with abnormal barders. Let's move on. Seeker LR300. So basically, I looked around with the sales as of recent and whatnot, made considerations. And you know what? If I literally go to the previous week's Icepick, I literally just mentioned it a minute ago, but that has basically done very similar sales. So, alright, let's go ahead, take a look at the previous week's Icepick skin and how's that currently holding up. Not great in terms of its price. If you were to see this for yourself, the fact that we've got another Icepick being accepted literally immediately next week, it dropped off a fair bit. It's actually kind of recovered. It kind of went bloop and then kind of rose up a little bit more. But let's see if that actually lasts. Anyway, we're here to talk about the subscriber count it got up to. 26,000 subscribers. Okay, well, not surprised because that's the first one to be accepted after 8 years in terms of Icepick skins. But if we're going to sit here and say, what, 26,000 subscribers potentially for the likes of this, that's not too bad. It definitely wouldn't be the most highest of sales for a Heatseeker skin. But you also notice something here. They're all in the positive now. Yeah, the MP5 rebounded and went back up in price. Probably due to the ban to skin box. I've got a video talking about this, so I'll mention that a little bit later in this video. But anyway, that should be alright. It's just, it's a LR300, and I know for a fact you don't appreciate LR300, the weapon itself. If you're not using the weapon itself that much, where's the justification to own the skins? If you know what I mean. So, no interest in using weapon, no interest in using skins, lower sales for said skins, lower prices. Be concerned. But I'm pretty sure people are going to want to get, the full set. So I think it's actually going to probably work out all right. It'll probably be the one that'll be like evens, whilst all of these just end up going up in price slowly. So, all right, we'll leave it at that. That's abnormal. It's a $3 skin. But if I was to give you a good estimate in regards to how much I think that's going to sell by next week, 24 to 27,000 subscribers. That's my estimate. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are going to wait till the last second, then go grab a whole bunch. That's why I'm expecting. So, okay, fair enough. Feel free to offer your own opinions and whatnot. But just to repeat, just to reiterate, take a look at all the LR300 skins. Just look at all of them. Oh dear, oh dear. And it's not even the first one with a transparent aim sight. Here's Apocalypse Nomad, and here is the Azure Snake. And they are down on price. Oh, yes, they are. Look at all these LR300s. Pretty much every single one of them over the past few years is in the negative and down real bad. As I said, lack of usage of the actual weapon itself, because people don't like using it that much. Where is the justification to own skins? Understood. Right, okay then, cool. Let's talk about the next skin then. So that would be the Icepick. So the Icepick did around 10,500 subscribers. Okay, do we have anything we could compare to? Well, I looked around, I made some considerations, and actually, with the likes of the previous week, I actually made a consideration to look at the meat fridge, the Neon meat fridge from the previous week, and I also looked around, made considerations, and I thought I'd also compare to the work crate. So, alright then, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So, over to here, if we look at the previous week, we'll see for ourselves that the meat fridge, that did just under 21,000 subscribers. And if we go a little bit further back, yes, where's that work crate? It's over down here, that did just over 20,000 subscribers. So, these were like the best things I could compare to. But of course, if I could quickly hop back over to here and look at the current situation in regards to this is doing very good. It's over 15,000 subscribers already. By default, you probably would have thought, oh, Hedge, is it going up to 21,000 subscribers then? Yeah, but I think it might do a fair bit more. So I'm suggesting that that's going to probably do between 20 to 23,000 subscribers. I thought its $3 price might keep it a fair bit low, but no. People are looking for a cool looking Icepick. And well, Gold Chains, you're the one. I was hoping that we'd actually see more of this collection. But it is a very strange looking collection now, isn't it? Look at that. Alright, well, overall, can't complain. Got accepted, selling nicely. I'm sure the skin creators are happy. But yeah. Let's see if it holds its value, because what happens if we see yet another Icepick skin being accepted next week? That might be a problem. Alright, we'll leave it at that then. Let's talk about the Veggies Fridge. So Veggies Fridge right now is just about 10,000 subscribers. If I were to quickly hop back over to here, it has sold like considerably less compared to the previous week's fridge. And based on what we're currently looking at, it's still kind of keeping that lack of momentum. But I've already said this. It was always expected that the very first fridge, the Neon meat fridge, would probably be the only one that goes up in price ever so nice. It's concerning what's going to happen to the Veggies fridge next. But if I was to compare directly to that fridge, I don't think we're going to get a clear idea. As I said, by default, I do expect it to sell less compared to the previous week's fridge. But I think the better option is to look at the likes of the Nuke Vibe Sheet Door and the Modern Military Sap. So let's go ahead, take a look at those. So if I was to just quickly go back over to here. Was it the previous week we had the Nuke Vibe, or was it the week before that? Nope, there it is. Just under 16,000 subscribers. And now I'll go ahead and try and find the Modern Military Sap. It's right over here, just under 14,000 subscribers. So I thought, okay, yeah, I might generalise a bit, and I think, you know what? Our Veggies Fridge very likely will be doing between 14 to 17,000 subscribers. Comparing it with this fridge over here, again, yeah, it's going to sell less compared to this, but the worries of what have happened in the past still apply. I still feel like that's going to go down in price. Based on what we saw before with the lockers, the very first one went up in price ever so nice, but these two, when they came out, they didn't really hold their value very nicely, and they went down. And for most of its existence, both of these have been below their restore price. I can't help but assume the same thing's going to apply to that. Now, I've had some people say, oh, but Hedge, I like farming and whatnot. I'm going to put all my farm stuff in the Veggies Fridge. I like that one more. Okay, fair enough. There's also the question of, are you even going to need a whole set of fridges? You can comment below if you want. But yeah, I'm still expecting that to drop off. Good thing, it's an abnormal skin. So we'll talk about that on Wednesday night. Yes. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that then. Funerary hoodie and pants. These are also abnormal. And right now, they're just under 7,000 subscribers. Let's quickly hop back over to here, and I'll point out that, yep, they did, what, about 4,800. Now, looking over to here, we also have the locker at about 4,800. And if I can just quickly check again, I can see that the bone locker is only like 100 subscribers less than these two. So you know what? I'll do both of these at the same time. So Funerary clothing and Bones Cage Locker. How much are you likely to sell by next week? What could we compare to? Well, I was looking around and I thought, you know what? Perhaps the best thing we could probably compare to is the Crocobot Action Rifle and the Apocalypse Nomad LR300. Both of these, well, that did about 5,000 subscribers, and this did about 4,500. So I guess you could say probably in the middle, but if anything, look at both, and you probably got a good range for where this is going to land. So that did 8,500 subscribers. This did just under 10,000 subscribers. But considering the momentum that these skins currently have, as you can see over here, just under 7,000, but all of it, I think I'm going to bump it up and say I reckon Funerary hoodie and pants are going to probably, and of course the Bone Locker, they're probably going to go up to about 9 to 11,000 subscribers. Not sure if everyone's going to be waiting to the last second to see how they turn out, but I am expecting them to at least go over 10,000 subscribers. Maybe something might slow it down, we'll see. But yeah, that's the expectation. So, alright then, not that much, but we are waiting in anticipation to see if we get a new core piece for funerary clothing. And the Bones Cage lock with that amount of sales, really, it's really not that much, is it? Sorry, I've lost my tongue. That is going to be selling less compared to the previous locker, bamboo locker. Let's quickly remind myself, because of course I compared the bamboo locker with that bones locker in the most recent rust rotation video, didn't I? But can I get a good look at specifically locker? How much did you sell? You did 17,500 subscribers. So that's probably going to have like 1/3 less. Interesting. Is it going to retain its value? Not if the bamboo locker is selling for about $1.50 at the moment. So, okay, fair enough. We'll leave it at that. So what remains is the Ultramarine Rock and the Chameleon boots. So both of these did a fairly similar number. This did just about 3,750, and this did about 3,450. Fairly close, or at least close enough. As I look back over to here, you'll see that the sales have kind of grown a bit more from here compared to here, but I'm still going to bunch them together. So what could I compare to? I think I want to go quite a fair bit back and compare to the LR300 we saw in a rust store. There we go. So this only just about reached 7,500 subscribers. But my estimate, based on the current sales that I'm looking at for these skins, I think both the Rock and the Chameleon boots are going to probably do between 7.5 to 8.5 thousand subscribers. So, okay. That's not that much. That's quite low. I'm not surprised to see low sales for this Rock, considering we literally just had a shiny Rock skin the previous week. That, of course, being Deep Ruby. That might be very interesting, because as a whole, Ultramarine collection is doing very good for itself. And I remember we were in this position with the Ultramarine Locker, the lowest selling skin out of all these skins. Look what's happened to it. Perfectly in the positive. But now, the Ultramarine Rock, that's going to be the lowest selling skin in this in-demand collection. That is not abnormal, that Rock. But, based on what I'm seeing here, I reckon by default, just because it's part of this collection, it's going to probably do a very good job of retaining its price. We'll have to talk more about that Wednesday. Let's see what the sales are like by then. But that is looking promising. And of course, if I look at the boots, there's a great thing to mention, because it looks like these boots are going to be the lowest selling clothing armor skin out of the whole set. The problem is with the clothing armor, it doesn't appear to be super in demand, but I am noticing the prices have improved a little bit. Now, more specifically, if I was to look at this and compare to the gloves, well, the gloves did do 8,200 subscribers, so it looks like the boots are going to match up nicely with these, or maybe sell a little bit less, we'll see. But yeah, they are, like, this pair of Redstone gloves have been the skin that stayed in the positive ever since, like, you know, we saw this getting skins accepted back in 2024. Tier 3 dipped, hoodie and pants were basically evens, but judging what I'm seeing here, prices have improved. So the boots, we'll see what happens next. Again, do you even like using boots? I've heard a lot of people sit there and say, oh, I hate them, they make noise. Oh, don't your feet make noise? Anyway, Chameleon boots, let's see what happens with you, but it looks like you're going to match up to the lower sales that Tier 2 and hoodie and pants did in comparison to Tier 3. Okay, yeah, so cool. Right then, so yeah, don't forget, if you missed any of the estimated numbers in regards to, like, final subscriber counts, it's always linked in the chapters, or mentioned in the chapters as well, so it's always there if you need to quickly remind yourself. Cool, so that was pretty straightforward. Not a massive rust store, and, well, overall, we've got to keep an eye on things. And, of course, keep an eye out on the workshop. So right now I can point out that we've seen some collection continuations already. Do you remember the cool looking monument, the Neil monument designs for doors and whatnot? You might recall the dome Garage door. It's a year ago. You probably don't remember. All right, fair enough. Well, we got a jungle zigger up now. Wooden double door. That's looking pretty cool. Then we got this deep ruby SAR. And I've just noticed the Nuke Vibe large box has appeared. And I think a lot of people are going to greatly appreciate that. I might need to go ahead and make a short video of that. So, all right, cool. Has it been a while since we've had a large box? Kind of feels like it. From the top of my head, I actually don't remember the last one. It probably was recent. You're just gone mad. All right, anyway, it's all good. So, all right, fair enough. Have you been keeping on skin prices? Because I've noticed, in general, certain prices are improving. As I just said, the Heat Seeker MP5, that's rebounded. Some strange reason, all of these on the front page. Also, I've got to give a heads up. Heat Seeker Revolver, look at that. You have been rising up in price ever so nice. Like, I honestly thought this was going to take longer for it to get up to $4 and whatnot. Well, it's past it, and now we're looking forward to this potentially rolling over to $5. The summer is improving. It looks like a lot of skins are going to be reaching their peak prices in August. We do have that August Force White just around the corner, so we'll see. But yeah, let's quickly look at the Heat Seeker skins. So both the SAR and the MP5, they dropped in value. They dropped off in value like somewhat recently. They had their own issues, but both of them are rising back up ever so nice. That's now $6.50 after going as low as about $3.50, a little bit less. And then of course over to here, we have the Heat Seeker MP5, and you'll notice it's back and above its rust price. Now the fact that these people here are trying to unload their stock in this amounts, you're not helping anybody. You're foolish. But look at the situation here. Literally in like the past 2 days, it just went whoop, and then over to here, SAR, Giga, look at you. You've been around a bit longer. Obviously, initially you're selling quite a lot more at higher price as well. That did drop off real bad, considering we had that Bellum Twitch drop, the Silver SAR, with the exact same amount of transparency on that SAR. Ooh, well, that's been given away for free. But of course, that's just been rising up ever so nice. It's just gone whoop. So, all right, cool. We're noticing recovery. We're noticing prices climbing back up. It's ever so nice. It's awesome. So, again, you should, keep an eye on your workshop, keep an eye on your inventory, and make sure if prices are improving, you might want to consider selling, because as we get closer and closer and closer to October time, you should be, aware enough. Because I've mentioned it so many times. Autumn, fall, seasonal dip. Autumn, fall, seasonal dip. You should be aware by now that October time tends to be the period of time in which we see most skins drop off to a low point for the year. But from there, prices only improve, and then we look forward to January time, post-Christmas. Obviously, we still have, the rest of July and August to go through, but keep an eye on the prices and make considerations. In many instances, you could probably sell your skins now and then buy them back again October time, and you'll probably end up with a bit of profit. It's up to you. So that's for you to consider. Right then, so is there anything else I need to address? So what I was implying is basically something I've already gone ahead and done. So if I was to go over to here, yep. Rust Summer 2025 bans, scams, and well, skin prices rebounding. Consider giving this video a good watch. In short, recently we have found out that face punching tends to ban skin box and relatable plugins. And of course, apparently, but yeah, it's actually definitely happening. We're going to get the 7-day protective measure being added to Rust, to all our skins. When you make a trade with someone, your Rust skins will have a 7-day cooldown. As a trader, that hurts me inside. As an investor, trader, whatever you might call yourself, you get the idea. So, oh no. oh yes. Because as I mentioned here, the prices of these skins are going up ever so nice. We have a brand new storage collection to look forward to. The summer of 2025 is perfectly fine. I'm not complaining. But I'm definitely hoping that the post-Christmas 2026 is even better, much higher. And everything is lining up so nicely that it's like we might emulate the behavior of the previous year and potentially have a very, 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 very strong start to 2026, considering the 1st of January 2026 is the Force White. So, Americans, maybe don't drink so much. Or just don't go to bed. So, alright, cool. Yep, that's nice. So, yep, consider watching the Rust rotation video to get a good look at all the skins in which I showcase them to the best of my ability. And, yeah, you can see that for yourself. And basically, with the yapping about the storage collection, I've actually gone ahead and I've gone and made a brand new playlist. So these videos, I will warn you, this is Hedge back in 2022, 3 years ago, without the cool mic and the Go XLR and whatnot. Be prepared for Blue Yeti microphone. And a Hedge that's not as confident talking compared to this one. You will see what I mean. But over the course of several weeks, I keep track of the progression of the graffiti storage collection. And, well, you see in like real time what the prices were like. You'll see what I'm thinking during this time period and whatnot. Because, of course, you can't really sit here and say, oh, everything worked out perfectly fine for graffiti storages. In fact, I got a little screenshot here. They all doubled in price. It's so easy. Just buy storage skins in the brand new storage collection. But again, 3 years without a brand new storage collection, it benefited from that. You can't just assume it's definitely going to be like that all over again. So, how was it during the progression? How was it during when new skins were still being accepted? That might be very beneficial to you. And the length of these videos aren't that long, so for your consideration. And of course, I'm sure many of you are fully well prepared and ready for those brand new Twitch drops that will be given away for absolutely free. Go to twitch.facebook.com, scroll down, you'll see those 6 brand new Twitch drops going to be readily available. All you have to do is watch someone streaming Rust on Twitch. Make sure your Twitch account's connected to your Steam account and you get those for absolutely free. If you really want to, you can watch me. The collection, the link to my Twitch is in the description. Whoops. And don't forget, with the upcoming Rust store for next week, that will be a charity skin, and it's going to sell between $5 to $10, based on what we've seen in the past. A wooden double door with transparency and glow in the dark, a very nice pay-to-win charity skin, in which all proceeds for this will go towards raising funds for Hope for the Day, a non-profit mental health awareness organisation. So it's all for a good cause. Props to Mr. FancyOrb, and let's hope the Global Warfare 3 event kicks off ever so nicely. I'll be taking part. So again, if you want to go ahead and watch someone to get those Twitch drops, it's up to you if you want to watch me, but yeah. Right then, so that appears to be everything that needs to be said. So I'll sit here and say thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Most of all, the most important thing now is you've got to go ahead, look at your inventories, and start making considerations if you're going to make some sales. The expectation is, once we start going through September time, prices are going to start dropping. At some point, maybe early October, most likely, you'll see the lowest points, but from then on, prices improve. And considering that the naval update, which is apparently just around the corner, sort of, that's looking like it was supposed to be intended for October or November, we'll see. But that'd be a very interesting way to end the year, just as we're about to start the next year. And this is why post-Christmas, January 2026 is looking to be very, very appealing at the moment. All right? Cool. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. Best of luck with you and your investments. And, well, let's see if we can make some sweet, delicious looking profit.